Happy holidays, raindrops. So look, before you guys continue to, enjoy your holiday and all those things, Carlos King never takes a break. So of course I had to get off vacation to talk to my girl because baby, a lot is going on and we cannot bring in the new year with mess. So ladies, gentlemen, gays and days, give it up for Charrisse Jackson Jordan of Potomac.
Hey, raindrops. I love your raindrops, actually.
They love you. So how's your holiday going, boo?
It's going pretty good. I'm with family. So this is my first holiday in a long time being in New Jersey. So I have siblings here, nieces, nephews, and I spent Thanksgiving, my first Thanksgiving with them. I'm spending Christmas. I may bring it in a year. I might go back to Maryland for the new year, not really sure, but I love it. It's been really good. Got a little snow, so it's cute.
Can I tell you what's also cute?
What?
That blonde baby. Yes!
They say blondes have more fun, so I'm a testament.
So wait, so is this what Giselle Karen called the color? Is it the B?
Ah, don't get me lying. I don't know none of those things. I don't know. That is not my ministry. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's how I learned a little bit or two about blonde hair baby because there was a whole drama about whether or not people are still in the blonde, but the blonde looks really good on you. So look, I wanted to make sure that you and I spoke before the new year because girl, your name and the name of your son, Jackson, okay, has been everywhere
It has.
listen, let's just get right into it. Due to Ashley's admission that she did hook up with your son. So before we get into what you responded to on social media, I want to go back to the day you filmed that scene because there's a lot of people, Charrisse, who felt that, okay, did she already know this? Were you surprised on the first time on camera? Did your son ever tell you he hooked up with Ashley? So talk to me about that scene that we saw in the last episode where Ashley does tell you that she and your son kissed. And then a lot of things transpire after that we'll get into.
Yes. So basically, that was one of my first scenes. And so it was more like a catch-up scene of me finding out what's been going on with the girls. This is what I thought it was. And I come onto the scene, rewind. I was very clear about coming into filming. My intention was not to get into these little cat fights with these ladies because for some reason, when there's a confrontation that involves me, I'm always looked at as the underdog and I'm being thirsty and all these things. And people really have no idea what really goes on. But I went in thinking, I'm just going to catch up with the girls. It was actually a great scene. It was fun. It was a lot of laughter, and they didn't use the scene. And I was just like, damn, I didn't even use that. That was a great scene. Like, these women have been fighting all season. You finally get a friend scene that seems very genuine, and you don't even use it. And then down the road, it's like, well, 2 weeks earlier, and it shows just that one portion where Ashley is dropping this bomb in my lap. And to be quite honest with you, Carlos, I didn't believe her. Ashley has been lying for 10 years. So when she's saying this to me, I'm honestly waiting for the prank, or I did not believe her. And in my head, I'm thinking, I know she is not that desperate for a storyline that she's bringing my son into this. Like, I really did not, I didn't believe it. But then she says he initiated a kiss with her. This is what she tells me. That's all it was. He initiated, he like pulled her in or something. And I'm not thinking to myself, that doesn't sound like my son, but okay. Um, but I just didn't believe her, honestly. I didn't believe it. And then fast forward, now that the show is aired, it's turned into,
Well, let,
oh,
let, let, let me stop you there.
okay.
Okay, so when she tells you the day y'all taped the scene that we saw, right? Because of course this happened months ago. So
Right.
months ago, when your friend
Hmm.
Ashley tells you she made out with your son, you're saying, look, Ashley's a liar. She lies all the time. Well, not all the time. You didn't say that. She
All the
lies.
time, all the time. But go ahead.
Okay, she lies all the time. And you thought like, okay, this girl is desperate for a storyline. So that day or days after, weeks after, or months after, did you and your son Jackson ever talk about what Ashley told you that day?
Okay, in all honesty, because I really didn't believe her. I never asked Jackson. I just said, oh, I heard I actually had the hots for you. That's what I said. And Jackson laughed it off. And that was the only thing said when we were, and again, I'm still not believing this story. So I'm like, I'm gonna bring Jackson to the little cowboy thing they had, right? I did not believe it. When I had Jackson come to film that day, my son wants to be a model and all the things, right? So like give him a little exposure. So I'm like, come on, come film with me. And then I'm like, maybe he really did kiss her, right? But that's all I'm thinking. It was a kiss. That's it. But so I don't know why. Like I've read a lot where people felt like I should have been like going off on Ashley. And I honestly don't agree with that because, first of all, again, I'm thinking she's lying. But if my grown son initiated something with her, why am I going off? This is a 27, well, he's 25 at the time, but 20, he's 27 years old. You know, nothing for nothing. Ashley's not a bad looking girl. She's a hottie. You know what I'm saying? So I if I was my son, I could see him being a little la la over Ashley. You know what I'm saying? So why would I get mad that my son took the initiative to kiss her? So, but she presented it wrong. She lied when she presented it. They wanted a reaction from me. If they wanted a reaction, they should have told the truth. The truth was now she's saying, which I still know, I don't know, because I have not even asked my son if the part about them sleeping together. Like now she's saying they've slept on multiple occasions and he's good in bed. I've been hearing all these stories, so I'm like, what is the motive here? What is the motive? You're that thirsty that you need to use my son to, you know, come up with what you think is something relevant. It to me is disgusting, honestly. What woman would sleep with their friend, with friends, their friend's son? It's just, it's tacky. But again, Carlos, I really didn't believe the story. And I think honestly, part of me wants to be in denial about it,
Mhm.
honestly, because I don't want to believe that she could be that low to want to use my son for a storyline because when Andy, I saw on Watch What Happened Live. I always say that wrong. Watch What Happens Live. Um, he asked her, "Did I know?" And then she said something about, "Oh, she something about if she looked at her camera lights in her house." So now you're implying that you don't have my son in my house. See, this is the shit you should have said when we were sitting in the restaurant if you wanted a reaction. Not Elmir Jackson kind of kissed me. That, type of thing. But now it's a whole it's crazy.
So let's talk about this. So Ashley did go and watch what happens live. She intimated that your son, who is 27 years old, and she's 37, and
Right.
look, grown adults, consenting adults, 10-year age difference, they're
Yeah.
they're grown. So for you, it's less about your son allegedly because again you haven't asked Jackson, so we've never heard his side of the story. I'm assuming that Jackson is the type of guy who's not going to kiss and tell.
Mm,
And listen, you raised a great man
mm,
who doesn't feel the need to brag about the women he slept with allegedly.
hmm.
um is it more about the fact that you considered Ashley to be a friend and the fact that she is going on Watch What Happens Live and doing these interviews talking about how your son is good in bed and they hooked up multiple times and she was never woman enough to have that conversation with you face to face.
Exactly. Like even the mere fact that you'd go on national television to disclose this. As my friend, I think you should have said to me, you know what, this is what happened, and that she was going to move in that way, or some, I don't know. I just thought it was just tacky. Like, why are you doing this? And I was told that she wanted to bring the story up 2 years ago. You 2 years ago, you were trying to make it your storyline then. Andy asked her, "Did I know? Did she tell me?" And she, why didn't she tell me? And she said, because Jackson didn't want me to know. Okay. He didn't want me to know, but you go on national television to tell me that he hooked up with, well, he initiated kissing you or whatever. But now you're on a roll talking about a relationship. If this was the other way around and it was a Jackson the was Ashley, 37, and Ashley was Jackson, 27, the woman, the roles reversed, people would see this thing so differently. You know what I'm saying? It's just like for me, when she's telling me, I'm in a sense thinking about my own life at 25. At 25, Carlos, do you know, I was dating their father at 25. He was in the process of a divorce. He had two kids. He had by his wife. He had two other kids by two other women. And I married that man. Okay. So, like, I can't get mad at nothing anybody does because I don't much less my child. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't get mad at him for doing whatever he chose to do if he did it. But at the same time, it's how it was put out there. I thought it was low. And for the record, my friends, none of them would ever do such a thing. Like Ashley doesn't operate like my friends. Like for the way that I grew up, when your friends' kids become your kids. You know what I'm saying? No matter what the age is, they become your kids. And so to be interested in your friend's kid that you now consider like a brother or nephew, it's ancestral to me, you know? But I also understand that she doesn't navigate like people like me. Her mindset is a little different than how I am. I mean, she was married to Michael. They had a whole open relationship. You know what I'm saying? So her thought process about sexual relations is a lot different than mine. There's no boundaries for her. Nothing's off limits. Period.
Before I get to the next question, I do want to ask you on the record. Jackson is your son. You two are very close.
Mhm.
Why, even today, haven't you spoken to Jackson about it? What is your reason to ask his mother to not bring it up?
You know, Carlos, I respect the privacy of people, even my children. I think they're entitled to do what they want to do. Part of me was like, okay, I'm going to be talking to Carlos. Maybe I should just ask him. I know it's going to be an awkward thing for him. So I've never got into their personal lives of what they're doing sexually, or not. Yeah, and maybe, and again, like I said, Carlos, part of me wants so bad to believe that this is just another stunt of hers and that it's not true. But, I was talking to Robin the other day and she said, well, don't be naive, Charrisse. Don't be naive, because the thing
Does
is,
Robin think it's true?
well, yeah, of course she does.
What about Giselle? Have you spoken to
Because
Giselle about this?
she's probably talked to Giselle. That's where Robin would know her information from. But
Okay.
just because it's coming from Giselle don't mean it's necessarily true either, because her and Ashley sit in the laboratory and create stories for everybody except themselves, really. So it is what it is, you know.
I
So,
know. Why do you say that Giselle and Ashley be in the laboratory cooking up storylines?
I mean, like honestly, Carlos, the way that this group has evolved, it's so crazy to me. It's like I remember years ago, it was Cynthia's 50th birthday. I was in Atlanta. I was at her party. And that was my first time seeing Atlanta film. And then the next day we're hanging out. And the thing was, there were no cameras, but it was the same people. You know what I'm saying? And they were shady in real life, just as they were on television. They were who they were, you know? Whereas like now I find like these other shows like Potomac, they have these characters that come in and they want to be a character and they don't want to live their real lives, you know? And so, or they'll dictate what part of their lives that they want to live. I will say for myself, when I was on the show, I was willing to open up my life. I was going through a divorce, initially wasn't, but I was going through I have always been open to my reality. I have offered so many things that was declined because, and they were good stories, you know, stories like my kids had siblings they didn't know that they were going to be meeting for the first time. I wanted to do that on national television because you know what? A lot of people have that same story. And I wanted to go through the whole process. I was declined. It's so many things that real life stuff that I'm declined, but then you have these ladies who are doing this fake television. And so for me, when you look at me season 1 to 3, that's when Potomac was still real in my mind. And then it's this whole other self-production stuff that started taking place. So when I'm there, I'm not engaged because I'm a real chick. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to engage in the fakery of it all. Like even this season, um, everybody's going for Stacey. It's like Stacey's a liar. Stacey, Stacey, Stacey. And I'm just like, this is all y'all got? Like, come on. Like, what's it was the weirdest thing to me. So literally every time I went to film, they were going at Stacey, going at Stacey. The last time it was Angel. They were going at Angel, you know? And it was just like, okay. It just it's so fake. It's so, you know, I would say scripted, but the acting's so bad. But it's not even real. So Heather, I'm just there. Carlos, I promise you, I can't engage with all that fakeness. I really can't. So
Well, let me ask you this. Who do you think is responsible for the fakeness that you say you see?
I don't know, because I think often these women, they live their storylines, right? The fake storylines, they live it. You know, like if whatever they decide that season that they're going to portray, they live it like it's the truth. Like you'll talk to them and they'll live by that fake storyline, you know? So even though you're just like, come on now. But it's just different. It's different. It's not Atlanta. I don't know about the other shows. I don't know about Atlanta now. I'm just talking about Atlanta before. The one that I witnessed, those girls were the truth. You know what I'm saying? They were the truth. And everybody wants to be Nene. You know, Giselle, she wanted to be Nene. You know, everybody wants to be Nene. There's only one Nene. I'm sorry. Can't be duplicated ever. You know what I'm saying? Your question was about why I hadn't, did we finish that? Why I hadn't told Jackson?
Yeah, well, the thing is, you haven't asked Jackson about the validity
Yeah.
of this sexual relationship or what have you, because you number one, you said you don't talk to Jackson about, or your only your children, you don't talk to your kids about what they do in the bedroom.
No, I don't. I don't
Yeah.
talk to anybody about what they do in their bedroom. I don't care. I only care about what's in my bedroom. Okay? That's it. You know, not much going on there. But I'm like,
Girl, with that blonde honey, you may be having more encounters. So, you did bring up something that people have been saying online, and I want to get into what Stacey said in my interview with her recently as well. People are saying online that, look, yes, Jackson is 27, Ashley's 37. At the time of the kiss, he was 25, she was 35. You've known Ashley at least for 10 years. So people are saying he was 15 when you joined the show. She was 25. These are what people are saying that look, she watched him grow up. And they feel like if the roles were reversed, that if a man was friends with a guy and his daughter was 15 when he met her, and then
Right.
started kissing her at 25 and he's 35, a lot of people would not have the same reaction they're having with Ashley and Jackson. Would you say that there is this double standard when it comes to
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. If if a 30 or older, 10-year older guy came on to one of Giselle's daughters, it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? That's why even the standards are different for different people too. So what you might allow for Charrisse, because the sky's the limit when it comes to me. You can say whatever you want. The more negative, the better. That's how it's been for me on the show. Whereas the same things that would apply to someone else, it would be handled different. But yeah, somebody, I think like on the show, if someone would have made out with Giselle's one of her daughters, we probably wouldn't have heard about it because they wouldn't have wanted that trashiness on the show. But because it was me and my son, it was nobody cared. It's like they allowed that to happen. But there's so many double standards in so many departments. And it's really it's unfair, you know? And then like even like with me, um, I don't do confessionals. So I mean, I could, but I haven't done confessionals. You'll let someone respond, like Ashley said, whatever she said in a confessional about Jackson. I didn't get an opportunity to clap back or say anything. So it's not even a balanced playing field. I come in, I find out about this situation, and then well, she just drops this little bomb on me that I really didn't care about. But in my head, and one thing I will say, I stay in my head, and I probably stay in it a little bit too much. I'm always concerned about how I'm perceived. You know, I think oftentimes when I respond certain ways, everyone wants me to be a thirst trap. Oh, what? She's so thirsty, wants the, she wants a fluid or whatever. I'm like, they have no idea how much I've literally turned down. My whole purpose with Potomac, and maybe I should give up on doing it, is trying to make it look like a classy show. Like give it ambiance, give it style, give it some class. Potomac initially was supposed to be like the black version of Beverly Hills, you know, and every time I turn around, they're eating out of these aluminum plates. It's like there's no, you know, people watch. I mean, Housewives used to be lifestyle, right? It was lifestyle. So there's no lifestyle in Potomac, okay? Look, Potomac. That's what the people in Potomac, the show, they call it Housewives of Potomac. They do. I'm
Cherie.
just the messenger, okay?
Okay. Well, there you go, Cherie. So one of the things that occurred in my interview with Stacey Rush,
Mhm.
she did make a comment. I'm sure you saw the clip if you haven't watched the whole interview where she did say, ew, when she's
Isn't that right?
describing how
Mhm.
Ashley, slept with her son or kissed her son. Again, we don't know what the truth is, but Ashley said they slept together, hooked up rather. But Stacey said verbatim, she feels like it's once your friend is a child, when you met them, they will always be a child in your eyes.
Right.
Stacey said that she think it's gross. She said, ew, yuck. The streets are rough. If Ashley feels the need to hook up with her friend's son. If you saw the clip, what did you think about what Stacey had to say?
She was on point. Absolutely 100% correct, because that's how people like me think. It is disgusting. It's like just because I have friends who have attractive sons. Ew. Like I can't even imagine. I don't even want to hug them too tight. You know what I'm saying? Because I just give a little little dap or something, but I can't look at them in that way, and to take it a step further and to not be ashamed of it and to tell the world about it. Like that's something else. Like if you really did do that, you should have just went to your grave with it and not tell anybody. No one, we would not know because Jackson for sure would not have told anybody. So yes, but Stacey was right on point.
Have you heard from Ashley at all?
No, I have not. I was supposed to, she invited me to her holiday party, which I normally go every year. Um, I was sick this year.
You are sick of her or sick like you had a cold?
I was both. I was both. But I'm glad I didn't go because even then I didn't know the full story. You know what I'm saying? Like one person had told me that she was going around telling people that they actually had, but I hadn't heard it anywhere else. So that kind of changed. I really don't need to come to your house now, ever. But um so I didn't go. But I haven't talked to her. Like even as a friend, again, if she's gonna go on this little press tour telling everybody she know my son, you would think she would at least have the decency to say to me, call me up and say, "Hey girl, this is what's going down." You know what I'm saying? It to me, it's like a constant jab. Like every time she does an interview, Carlos is disrespectful. It is. There's just no way you can sugarcoat it. There's no way that I could. I mean, again, yeah, he can do whatever he want to do, but in terms of girl code and friendship, it's disrespectful. And to me, it shows me how you feel about me as a friend because now you have you are willing to lose our friendship over telling the world that you slept with my son. It just tells me how you feel about me as a person. It has nothing to do with Jackson at this point. It has to do with how you value friendship, your mode of respect. She has no moral compass, and it's sad.
When it comes to your friendship with Ashley, do you think you want to, based on everything that's transpired, do you believe that Ashley was ever your friend?
No, no. I think one thing about I remember the first Christmas party, and one of the Atlanta girls was at the party, and she said to me, because people know I think people can see my innocence. So she said to me, um, these are not your friends. No one is your friend. And at the time, they all were my friends. I called Giselle. I mean, I'm the reason that the show I got the show together. I'm really thinking these are my friends. They were up until we started doing that show. And when she was saying it to me, I didn't, oh, she doesn't know me, Everybody likes Charrisse. I'm the fun girl and I love my friends hard. So there's no room for questioning my loyalty to you as a friend. I love my friends hard. So I'm thinking these are my girls. These are my road dogs. You know what I'm saying? Even when I wasn't filming, we were still friends. We're still hanging out because they're my friends, at least I thought. And then it's like this happens and it makes you look back and other things start clicking and making sense. Like, okay, no, she clearly was not ever my friend. She was a coworker, as they call it.
Is there any girl that's on the show right now that you do consider a friend?
Um, okay, so Stacey and I used to be friends before the show. We were friends, like friends. Um, I met Stacey. I know I was going through my divorce when she and I were friends. We used to hang out and whatever. Um, and I actually like Stacey, by the way. But one thing that the common denominator to all of my downfalls with that show leads to one person, and that shall remain nameless. Um, got to her and gave their spit on everything. And when I came to film, first of all, let me just tell you, when the first season ended, I reached out to Stacey. I was surprised Stacey didn't reach out to me to tell me she's gonna be on the show, which she doesn't have to, that's a prerogative. Um, but then after watching her on the show, I sent her a text and I said, congratulations, you were a breath of fresh air. Because that's how I felt. She's a breath of fresh air. She's like, oh my gosh, Reese, let's get together. We went to dinner and she was a little, unsettled because how the girls came at her and, she was having a hard time. And I sat down with Stacey and gave her some hard, good advice. She listened to everything I told her too. Okay. And I'm not giving myself credit for her because she's doing well, but she got it when I shared with her, and she's like, "Oh, Charrisse, you should come back." And I was like, "It doesn't for me. It's different for me. You know what I'm saying? That thing that ship done sailed." But if I knew what I knew now, the outcome for me would have been a lot different. I was playing checkers; they were playing chess. You know, and unfortunately, like for some reason, when you get a new girl on a show, they like to haze them and all the things and it, it seems a little insecure. I don't like a little insecurity. I know everybody's fighting to keep their space on that show. Um, but the hazing that they do, like it's crazy. And to just not like people, not to like them and to say all these horrible things about people, fact or fiction, most of it fiction. It's just horrible. But so Stacey was kind of told something by uh, one of my friends that made her feel that I betrayed her trust. I don't know what was told because it's probably a lie. Um,
Is the person she said told her still on the show?
yeah,
They're a housewife.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and even though she doesn't have the greatest relationship with this person, because in our conversation, I told her about the person. So this person tells her whatever she has to tell her. Stacey believes whatever she told her. And so when I go to film, now Stacey's not talking to me. And I'm like, there had been nothing. That's why, and I probably shouldn't have done it. I thought, oh, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, you want to be mad at me? Let me give you a reason to be mad. And then I said this thing about whatever I said on the show. But I actually really do like Stacey, even though I haven't talked to her in a while. I think she's great television. I don't think that um I don't I think that it's hard for people that when you see success coming, those women are going to try to eat you up and spit you out. You know what I'm saying? And I knew her first season, Stacey, as like I said, breath of fresh air. And you know why? Because it wasn't all the fakeness. Like it wasn't like she's like trying to be relevant. Now the story with the guy was a little crazy, but I was like, but at the same time, it's funny. But but Stacey's whole demeanor is just so different. But yeah. So I like Stacey in terms of friendship. On the cast, I real friendship. I don't wouldn't say I have a real thorough friendship with anybody.
Not even Giselle, because you two seem to be the closest.
I don't
At
think
least it seemed.
I thought I did too. I think that this stuff is a business and people will do and say anything to be where they are and they don't care. Like when you have real friendship, you care about your friends. You know what I'm saying? You don't try to set your friends up for a moment. You
Mhm.
don't lie on your friends. I remember when I was uh put in the friend group, in the friend category. I had gotten a call. I'm in Canada with my kids at a Drake concert. And I get this phone call. It's a conference call. It's various people on the line. And this is going into season 3, I guess. And so right before we filmed 3. And I was told that because I wasn't my authentic self, that they were making me a friend. So then I was just like, so if I'm not being me, who am I being? And the person on the phone that was leading the conversation, I didn't even know who I was talking to. So I'm just like, I'm sorry, I don't even know who you are. So how do you know so much about me? Like, I don't even know who you are. How are you telling me how I'm not being my authentic self? Well, I learned later that my friends created a narrative of me that wasn't true. And yeah. And when things happened the way they did. They tried to go back in, but it was too late from what I was told. Um, so no, Robin is not on the show. Robin and I would say are genuinely friends. NECA, I actually love NECA. She and I are very good friends. Um, Monique and I were friends on the show initially, but that person that destroys stuff when it comes to Charrisse, that's why she and I are not, we ended up not friends. Um, yeah.
I'm stuck on this. So, just so I'm clear, you're saying to me there's a current housewife, a flute holder on Potomac, and this one person, you're saying to me, ruined your friendship not only with Stacey, but also with Monique?
Hmm. Yeah. And this year when they had their sit down, they didn't air it, but I was told that I was the reason why they weren't friends. They decided to blame it on me. I get blamed for everything, Carlos. I'm the reason why they're not friends. And then I was saying to production, I wanted to have a sit down with Monique. Like that if anything to me, that was well overdue. You know what I'm saying? I thought that that would be interesting. And they kept procrastinating when it never happened. But and I was going to be real about it because when um Gizelle and I had a conversation on camera where Giselle's telling me something about me being the reason for the issues between them. I said, no, 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 let's talk about this. That is not true. She suddenly she couldn't remember why her and Monique fell out. I do. I remember everything, and I'm going to tell the truth about everything. One of the big did we not forget the binder? Like I had nothing to do with none of this stuff. You know, I got blamed for stuff. I was always the scapegoat to get stuff on the show. Like even the stuff with the trainer. Giselle says to Monique, "Are you not talking to Charrisse because she's going around telling everybody about you and the trainer?" I never said nothing to Giselle about no damn trainer. You know what I'm saying? But she wanted to get that on the show. Nobody was even going to talk about that. The person who was talking about it was Monique's best friend. And Robin called me, and I'm friends with everybody. So they knew something was going down. So it was just like, something's going on, Charrisse. We know you can find out what it is. So I put on my little detective cap, and then the girl called me and told me everything. I told Robin. That was it. I was done with it. I wasn't even filming that year. Next thing I know, I'm saying that the baby is Chris might not be the father. I mean, I'm blamed for everything. I never said that. I'm not in their bedroom. I don't know who the father of anybody's child is. Like, but because she wanted to put that out there that there was a question mark about it, I'm the person who said it. No, I didn't. I never said that. So I'm always the fall guy. But I was never given the opportunity to defend myself. So for people watching the show, I look like I said all this stuff that I never said because I never got a chance to defend myself, you know? So it's what it is.
Okay, so my last question for you is, now that you were able to, tell us your side of the story, because, a lot of people did say, oh, Charrisse, you had every opportunity to read Ashley in her face, but you waited until after the show aired. Now we know why everything transpired the way it did.
No.
Uh, now we know that. What do you have to say about this misconception that people do have of you, Charrisse? Like you said, people think you're a liar, they think you're thirsty. They think these things about you. What is it that you would like for people to know once and for all who you really are and why you think people got you confused?
You know, I like I said, I just when I reflect and I go back and review how things had transpired over the years, um, I just feel like when you have people that come into this circle that say even like for the new ones if you're in sound relationship, if you have a little bit of coins in your pocket, if you have something going, they like to break you down. You know what I'm saying? When I came in, when I the first season, and I don't want to sound like I'm
Bitter.
super, no, no, not bitter, but superficial or
Oh,
anything.
okay.
Um, I had the nicest home. I had I those girls didn't even have attorneys. I did their contracts. My attorney did their contracts. Okay. The everything was in my home. Our photo shoot was in my house. The show, there was, you know how it is. First season shows, there's not a lot of money. So all these things, it seemed like I think it looked like it was about me, and people decided, no, we're gonna make it about us. Karen and Giselle aligned and decided we're gonna erase Charrisse. They created a whole new narrative, okay? And you probably don't know this, Carlos. Like at one point, now imagine this. I'm like a self-appointed casting person for the show, okay? I'm helping Adrian. I'm setting up meetings in Starbucks, meeting people, because at first we were trying to make it Potomac people. And I told him from the door, I said, Potomac people are not going to do the show. They don't have to. You know what I'm saying? They're not. And so um we're I it got to a point I'm interviewing these people, I'm having casting parties. It was fun for me, you know? And like I said, I called Giselle. I called Giselle, Robin, I called everybody. I didn't call Ashley. Ashley, I didn't know Ashley. But everybody else on the cast was a result of me in some capacity, right? But then when you go to shoot the pilot, you come up with an idea to eliminate Charrisse. They were trying to make it Jack and Jill. I'm the only one that's not Jack and Jill. Okay. Giselle's Jack and Jill. Karen's Jack and Jill. Um, Ashley wasn't Jack and Jill, but she hadn't
And
had,
Katie was on the
and they were trying to get Katie, they were recruiting Katie to get her kids involved in Jack and Jill. That was a storyline. However, and my thing is, how are we doing? I'm not a part of Jack and Jill. Like, how you come? That was the beginning of trying to exclude me from the from the group. You know?
you felt that even during the pilot, you feel strongly that even then, before the show got greenlit, before the show been aired,
Yeah.
you've always felt that Giselle and Karen were trying to ice you out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. For sure. For sure. Um, Fortunately, Jack and Jill wasn't playing those games. They said, no, y'all can't say Jack and Jill. Okay. So their little idea that went away. So they couldn't even,
But why do you think, okay, you think they were trying to ice you out, but what is your reason for believing that?
I think I personally felt like I said, I had the home, I had all the things. I well connected in Potomac, DMV. You know what I'm saying? I had all these different things to make this thing function. To for other people to shine. Just like I honestly, like Giselle gives Karen the name Grand Dame. That was because that was her way of dimming my light, so to speak. No, seriously. And I know people are gonna think and say what they want, but it's the truth.
If that's
But
the case, okay,
it worked well.
if that's the case, a lot of people, and I am people, if that's the case, how are you able to be friends with someone if that's what you feel happened?
You know what, Carlos? In all honesty, before
Hmm?
any and everything, I am God's child. And I believe everything that happens in my life happens for a reason. Most times I don't know why some of the things that happen, but they happen for a reason. I believe even with the show itself, even, I just feel like knowing that things that were done that people don't even know that I know about, um, God has makes the final decision. So I just felt like it was if it was meant for me to be in that space, that's where I would be. So I never fought to retain that space or get it again. But because I put so much time and energy into the show, I still wanted it to succeed, you know? And I offered to do things and give other people credit for it, like organize something and make it somebody else's event. I volunteer to do stuff, not even being a friend or nothing, just because I wanted that show to be successful. As a Black woman, I wanted that show to be, I still saw it as my baby. I still wanted it to do well without me, with or without me, and that's because I am a chosen one, Carlos. I'm a chosen child of God.
Hmm.
And I don't hate, you know. I know that for me and on the show, I don't have that spirit of wanting to tear down somebody's relationships, their character. I am not a character assassinator. I'm just not her. It doesn't give me, I don't, it doesn't feel good to tear somebody down. I'm not that girl, So in that realm, but if you say something to me, if you come at me, then maybe I'll come back at you. But I'm not gonna initiate it. I'm not gonna try to hurt you. I'm at Karen. I loved Karen as a friend. Karen and I were really friends at one point. Um, but I remember one time we were filming, we're in France. And one thing I also like for me, I'm sort of like an empath in a sense where I could feel hurt when people are
Hmm.
hurting. And I remember we were in France and I'm in the car and there's a scene, I'm just looking at my phone. They were going at Karen and I could feel Karen's pain so clearly. And when we got to our destination, I remember I went to Giselle and I said, okay, that's enough. I said, she's going through something. I don't know what it is, but she's going through something. There's some hurt there. Like everybody just leave Karen alone. And she was left alone for the rest of the trip. But it was just like I I literally came into a scenario where I thought I was on a cast of friends and I wanted us collectively to be the best band in the world. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and I genuinely cared and genuinely loved my friends. But yeah, now just looking at it's disheartening sometimes. It's hurtful when people have literally crucified your character to the point where when you're talking to people and like same, it's like, yeah, okay, sure. It's like side eye to me. And I'm just like, you know what?
Oh, well, I will say this. Listen, one thing about you that I know for sure is, and this is what we know. In Potomac, you are that girl. Like you, and you don't have to say it. It's fine. Um, you really go to these $50,000 plate events. Like you really are involved in the upper echelon of the world, especially in Potomac. I know a lot of girls in Maryland. They all say, "No, Charrisse is actually that girl." So look, similar to Nene, because Nene, when Atlanta started, she recommended Kim and Sheree, and so
Mhm.
so I understand. And listen, I'm a producer, so I understand that you want this show to be about friends, so you do work with somebody to categorize and organize the rest of the situation. Ashley was auditioning for this show called Blood, Sweat, and Heels. They were going to do it in DC, and so she was already on Bravo's roster for other stuff, which is why she got the Potomac thing. So look, I will say this. Thank you for your services because we appreciate that. And listen, I will say this. Based on what you have provided to the show, you are somebody who I will say honestly has always provided great commentary. I think you're super funny. I do think you're super misunderstood, but I will
I do
say this.
too. I am. I
I
really
know,
am.
but that's why I always enjoy talking to you because listen, I have a huge platform, so I know how you felt. You and I had a conversation all the time about how you felt, and I knew when this whole situation was happening with Ashley, and you made a comment on Instagram, and we did talk about it on my show last week, Monday Night Live. I knew that it was time for you to just say your piece and to say it uninterrupted, to say it with somebody who you can trust. And I'm happy you were able to get things off your chest once
Yes.
and for all because I do think it's necessary and it is healthy for you. And I'm happy you did it.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't, I don't do no, I don't do interviews. Yeah,
No.
I think my last interview was you. I don't do interviews, and I really don't. I I don't comment on social media either unless it's positive. But I was upset about when I saw the comment. Like I was in this space. I was like, oh my God. And it's so crazy. I think I was overwhelmed with being misunderstood also.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, I don't have an opportunity to express how I feel or to give people um a better picture. So it was funny because they said Charrisse breaks her silence. I really wasn't breaking my silence. I was just commenting on somebody. I wasn't breaking my silence. And I was just like, oh my God. And, and then I saw your people stories about it all. Um, and yeah, they were wrong, but it's like, and just to answer another question, why, and I kind of touched on it a little bit. Why would I keep going back? And I, that's a good ass question. Like it's almost like an abusive relationship. It's like, why do you keep going back? But I want to, every time I go back, I want to believe what they're telling me is going to happen. It just doesn't. And I just feel like I'm portrayed as the bad, the a bad person. Not a bad person, but
Yeah,
everything.
no, I will say this season, listen, this season, I felt like obviously you weren't portrayed as a bad person. I felt like I always feel like you're being you, and I always think this. Not that you're giving me some backstory, I now do see things differently in terms of how other people operate around you. Like, listen, we saw a couple of seasons ago when baby, you and Karen had it out and you were slapping on the table like now we have a grand
Right.
understanding,
Like if you
right?
think I'm a real chick. Like say Ashley, for example. When Ashley said King left on me one time, I was ready to choke the bitch. And I said it. I said in about 5 seconds, I'm gonna fuck you up. And then later on, after the season aired, we were in a restaurant and I said to her, I said, Ashley, like for real, I don't play these games. If I say I'm gonna fuck you up, I'm there. I don't do fake TV. You know what I'm saying? And that was years ago. That was like, was it two? I think that might have been season two, but I really wanted to that day. I wanted to choke that girl. I wanted to take her life. I wanted so that's what I'm saying. I'm real. I just don't do fake shit, So that
Yeah.
again, like with the Ashley thing, if they wanted a real reaction, she should have told me, yeah, I slept with Jackson. She would have gotten one. But she sugarcoated it. And then on her confessional it was a little different. And then you go on these interviews saying whatever, but you never said that to me. So,
But look, now we know why. She didn't want to get choked, baby.
and I'm too old to be choking people, but I'm not against it, you know, if it's deserving.
Oh, Charisse, I love you so much. Look, thank you so much for this. I know you're busy. Enjoying your holiday break. Listen, blondes do have more fun. So I'm happy.
I know. So wait, what's your status, Carlos, since we last talked?
Oh!
Look, let me interview you for a second.
Why? You got somebody Potomac for
I
me?
mean, there's always somebody, honey. But what is it?
Look, look, I'm outside and I'm, getting to know people.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
I didn't. If there's a gift you have under the tree, let me know.
Okay. And there we have it.
And there we have it. Listen, I'm all about the Potomac streets. I love the men in DC, the gay ones, child.
I, I have a lot of friends, gay friends in DC, and they are a lot of fun. A lot.
Okay, you got somebody for me?
Good times. I had my, oh, I shouldn't say my favorite friend, but remember Gregory? Not your type?
I don't know. No, no, oh, no, I don't.
Oh.
Who's Gregory?
He was on the show with me season 3.
I have to check.
Hmm.
Ah!
Like Gregory? Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll call you. I love it. I love it. Well, Charrisse, I love you, baby. Thank you for this. And listen, I have a funny feeling we'll see you again.
Oh no, but we'll I'm tired.
Baby. Oh, baby, wake up. The hibernation's over with, baby. We want to see some real with Charisse, baby. But no, all jokes aside, happy holidays, sweet pea. I love you.
I
Thank you.
love
Give my
you
best
too.
to the kids, to Jackson, and we'll see you on the next one.
Okay, honey. Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you, boo.